Nebraska head football coach Matt Rhule calmed the waters this week. He gave the speech that was needed at a time when it was never needed more. That was Matt Rhule on Monday. That was a moment where you're like, yep, this guy's worth what you're paying him, because well,
I'd like to see some more wins, but yeah.
But just the way he represented and spoke in that situation.
Yeah, right.
I mean, his offseason with getting Rhule and transfers, he's doing the right things.
Mm-hmm.
But he handled himself better than the governor did this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did definitely calm the waters. He led. He was a leader.
He didn't get political. He just led.
Got a little political, but not much. No, you're right. Not much. He took the high road on Trev, said that he'll miss him and that he's left the university in a better spot. Matt does take the high road. And I agree with you. I mean, and he really, I thought, was eloquent in spelling out what he's looking for in the AD. He wasn't even asked really directly about the AD. He was just asked what he looks for in a leader. And he just went ahead and said, this is what I'm looking for in the AD.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good. I mean, what he said made a lot of sense. I mean, and what he said was urgency. We need somebody that has a sense of urgency, because he said, we need someone that has an unbelievable sense of urgency. Doers. He mentioned that something interesting too about Trev, that Trev was there every day at 7:30 with a suit on. That's big time. I mean, that's a big time leader that's there every day, every day of the week with his suit on. And Trev was like that. So yeah, Matt spelled it out really well. And he mentioned the Penn State AD is another guy that he likes that way. I'm sure that was beautiful to hear for people, but I thought, yeah, I'm with you. He spoke for 10 minutes really before he ever got to his team at all.
It wasn't a spring football press conference.
No.
Not really wasn't, was it? Wasn't. He got to his football team eventually, and we did talk football. But that's not, and I will tell you, that's not what I expected. I expected more of a mundane spring football.
I'll just say this, and let's keep questions on football, guys.
Right. Sean was ready with a story. You had the bare
It's challenging to cut up quotes on Matt Rhule, because when you go 8 or 10 minutes in a row on one thing and they're like 1,000-word quotes,
right?
You have to it takes a little bit of skill.
He did. Oh, I know it does. But yeah, you were ready because we figured we would
lead with it.
He would comment on it, but like Rob said, I didn't know he would go that in depth on it, but he did, and it was interesting. I thought it was leadership.
So when he's talking about what he's looking for in the next AD, you mentioned urgency.
Yeah.
Someone that's going to be not scared to do big things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the quotes that kind of struck me says, "You can't worry about optics." I wonder what that means. What optics do you think he's talking about when it comes to investing and doing things to keep Nebraska at the forefront? I didn't know if that was referencing maybe some resistance they've met with in terms
NIL?
I don't know. In terms of trying to move Nebraska forward. That's one thing that if I could follow up, I just want to say, what optics is he talking about? And was that an issue previously? Did Trev receive resistance with some of these big ideas that he had, which maybe played a part in his decision?
Could have been.
Yeah, I mean, the stadium thing, though, we just don't know where that's all going to go.
We don't.
The money piece. And I mean, there's never been a project in the city of Lincoln of this cost.
Yeah, $450 million is the announced cost, but you figure it'll be surged to $600 million or so. I would say, if you were to venture a guess, that if I was to venture a guess, I would say it'll be put on pause. I just don't know how you go forward. I don't know how you're going to go forward with this.
To put it in perspective, the Mutual of Omaha building in downtown Omaha will be the largest skyscraper ever built in Nebraska. And initially they announced it as a price tag of $443 million. And the later updated cost is now $600 million.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about.
And we're talking pretty much a similar project. I mean, a skyscraper in downtown Omaha that it will be the largest of its kind in Nebraska. And the football stadium is going to be on that same scale.
So that's what the new AD would walk into. It's possible that I'm wrong. Very rarely am I wrong. But but I don't think that this thing will go forward with the current price tag.
My understanding though is you have to do South Stadium right, you have to demolish it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way it was never built as like an addition to connect with the rest of the stadium, like north, east, and west connect. South was just kind of built up as like
Standalone,
like a temporary bleacher stand. There.
Okay, here's my question to you: do you have to do it to the South State? Do you have to
or do you just let it live with it?
Do you just live with it?
Well, Trev really leaned on that the American disability, the handicap seating and the access.
Okay.
There was no elevators. There's no escalators.
That's trouble.
I mean, you have to push push somebody up these ramps, and it's
trouble. That's trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that part.
And do they have to be compliant, like with the guidelines for like the Disabilities Act or whatever, like to have ramps and like even like railings up the aisles? Like I know that was an issue too.
Have they been in compliant for a long time?
Yeah.
Well, they have the handicap seating platforms. Like you can't get a wheelchair up like the main.
Mm-hmm.
South.
Well, I don't know, but anyway, I don't.
But there's a lot of issues there, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they just announce a scale back renovation, scale back to 150 million,
Mm-hmm.
200 million
phases. Like,
yeah.
I think if you said to that,
chairbacks can happen.
if you said to that, whoever those people are, they're raising the money, you just got to raise 120. You could probably have that done by the end of summer.
Well, Matt
But
Davison,
225, you got to get to 225 million. You may never get to that.
Matt Davison did that by himself almost.
225?
No, the 100 and some million on his own for the football project.
Yes, that's a lot different than 225.
No, I know.
I mean, and it wasn't easy.
And that was the pre-NIL era.
Right.
And now
The pre-NIL
you're going to the same people that are already giving tons to NIL, already giving tons to Nebraska normally.
Yep.
And you want them to give them more. And,
Yep.
If you're a guy that would give $1 million, I mean, $1 million is not enough, by the way. That they're looking for like $10 million gifts, $20 million gifts.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
They're not searching for $100,000 donations for the stadium project. They need major gifts.
Yeah, so we say this all in the context of an open AD position, and that's what the AD, this new AD, would inherit. That's part of the job. That happens. I mean, you have to take care of your facilities, but this project is mammoth. I can't believe there's an AD sitting out there right now who's been in charge of a project of this magnitude.
Well, and the stadium ticket grandfathering too. I mean, that's something that they were going to consider eliminating. And you have, roughly 20,000 people that are probably grandfathered in pricing from the 1980s and 90s.
It's complicated. It's a complex job.
They need to eliminate that. That's going to, I mean, there's a lot of things the new AD is going to walk into and upset people.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And that's part. Now, again, I've said this before to you guys on this show. That's the nature of an AD job. It's tough. You got to say no to people. That's the bottom line. You got to say no to people in house. You got to fire people in house. Say no to people outside. You got to say no to a lot of people outside. You have no idea on a daily basis how many people want something, be it just a tour of the football offices at 2 p.m. No, we can't do that. The guys are working. We can't have your kids walking through here at 2 p.m. It's stuff like that every day you're saying no to somebody.
Remember when the locker room wasn't fully built up yet, and we'd be up in that area by the soccer offices? There'd just be 4th grade classes, damn near walking through the locker room.
Right.
I would see players in their towels walking by us, and then there'd be a 4th grade class on their
very awkward
state of Nebraska field trip. I think that is it 4th or 5th grade when they go
something
on
like that. Yeah.
I was like, this does not work here.
Well,
there's kids walking around and guys walking around in their spandex underwear. And
right. No, it wasn't a good scene. You're right. That was if you're an AD, you might put the kibosh on that.
Well, they've set it up now. We're nowhere near that visual.
Right.
We're in kind of a locked space now. Remember, we used to be able to eyeball the entire team every day.
Yeah, we did that. We'd go for the injury report.
Yep.
Jared Lamprick shut that down.
Yeah.
He made sure we were in a different area for where the team walked.
Yeah,
off.
the players had to walk past us, and Sean would literally say, "Hey, position yourself over there so you can see."
Yeah, you just make a list of guys that weren't suited up or who had a boot on or whatever. Made it easy.
Sure did.